If you have already watched my past videos, don't worry, because I made new content so you have a little something to watch while waiting for my next main video. If this is your first time coming to my channel and really did plan to fall asleep to this, also don't worry, because I made sure to review and re-edit the videos included here to remove loud or sudden noises that would wake you up. Although this may not be the definitive way to watch my past videos, it is optimal for this upload's purpose. I will start off with the new stuff, then afterwards play the rest of my backlog. If this is your first time watching and enjoy my videos, I would love it if you were to share my channel with others. Alright, I love you all and sweet dreams. Good night. On June 19th, 2012, a YouTube channel named MKOutfit7 would upload 2 videos, both titled Talking Tom and Ben News. Talking Tom and Ben News is one of many spin-offs of the Talking Tom series by Outfit7. Now, what stood out in these 2 videos was the background. Here's what the background normally looks like, and here's what it looked like in the 2 videos. Yes, an ad for Pepsi in Chinese. Neither video's description elaborates on this either. This version of the game is nowhere to be seen online, both Chinese and international versions, adding some mystery to this video. What's interesting is that this Pepsi promotion did happen in China, but not until December of 2012. On the official Weibo page for Pepsi, a post on December 24th announced the Talking Tom and Pepsi collaboration. How the promotion worked: you would follow the Pepsi page, retweet the post, and tag Pepsi alongside your message. Pepsi would randomly select people who did this and send them Pepsi-themed Talking Tom merchandise, like badges, stickers, pencils, and probably more. There even was a dedicated TV program to promote Talking Tom in China with Pepsi advertising. Despite all of this, the actual game with the ad still remains lost. Considering that the channel that uploaded the 2 videos were uploaded months in advance to the promotion, and the channel name is literally MKOutfit7, it is highly likely that the uploader is someone who worked at the company, and maybe this version of Talking Tom and Ben News never released to the public, and plans changed for this promotion. I tried to trade in Deal or No Deal, the interactive DVD at GameStop, and they told me I had to pay them to trade it in. Playing video games directly on your TV or media player never really took off in the mainstream, but it's something that companies have continued trying even to this day. There was the GameWave and New One, which were Canadian DVD players that also had exclusive games made specifically for them. Neither one was exactly a success. During this era, there was also games that could be played on basically any DVD player, like the previously mentioned Deal or No Deal, or this Over the Hedge game. Sometimes the DVD was primarily a movie, but the disc would include a game or a demo that you could play on PC or even the original Xbox. And when I say that companies are still trying this to this day, I mean they really are. Did you know that you can buy and play games on a Roku? There is an official store on Roku players where you can buy and play games. And yes, the games are very much the kind of shovelware that you see on the App Store, but they are in fact games. Now, winding back to 2002, EchoStar, the parent company of Dish at the time, introduced Dish Home, which you could access by going to channel 100 on your channel guide. This served as the hub for various Dish programs and interactive services. One of these programs was Playin' TV, which hosted playable games that you could play directly on your television. Even if the games were basic and looked like something you'd find pre-installed with Windows, it was still a pretty neat novelty. And apparently the service was successful enough that over the years, more programs and services hosting games would launch on Dish. In 2006, Dish Games would release. In 2007, Disney Interactive launched, which was a service dedicated to Disney-themed games, and there were other TV game programs hosted on Dish too, like Game Galaxy. By the end of the 2000s, you actually had a decent variety of games to play on Dish. There was trivia games, sports games, platformers, shoot-'em-ups, license games, fucking bullshit, and more. The one game that people seem to be the most nostalgic for is Carrot Mania, since it's what you see mentioned the most whenever people online talk about old Dish games. And there weren't just 1 or 2 Carrot Mania games. There were at least 13 of them. There could have been even more, since I'm only counting the ones I found listed in an old Playin TV catalog. And this wasn't exclusive to Dish either. DirecTV had its own games from around 2006 to 2013, and television providers in other countries experimented with this too, such as Sky in the UK and Ireland. TV games were a pretty niche part of some people's childhoods during the 2000s. You can still find nostalgia edits about some of these games on TikTok, and there are people on Reddit trying to remember the games that they played years ago. Sadly, however, almost every single game made for DirecTV and Dish are now long gone. Surprisingly, a good amount of Sky games have actually been found and made playable again, thanks to a few developers who worked on many of these games preserving their old work. I'll leave a link to them in the description. I highly doubt that the Dish and DirecTV games will ever be fully recovered, but maybe there's a developer out there who still has the original assets sitting on an old hard drive somewhere. And maybe one day they'll upload them online, because as far as I'm aware, the Dish and DirecTV games do not save on the device at all. CCTV is a name you hear a lot in my Chinese lost media iceberg, as CCTV serves as one of China's major television stations. Think of it like China's NBC or BBC, where they have multiple stations for various categories. CCTV would launch on May 1st, 1978 as a replacement to Peking Television Station. So here's where the lost media comes into play. The first ident for the station is lost. Although CCTV launched in May of 78, it wouldn't have its own ident until New Year's of 1979. What's cool is that we have a fully archived newspaper from New Year's Eve promoting the new ident, and even gives a description of what it looks like alongside an illustration of it. The specific version of the ident was only used for 2 years, from 1979 to 1981. The oldest recording available of a CCTV ID is from 1983, which is slightly changed as it now has extra text on it. So why even care? As I said, CCTV is one of the biggest television stations in China, so tons of people have watched it over the years, and their logos and transitions are something that many people find nostalgic. Of course, there is also about preserving its history too. If CCTV themselves still have it somewhere, maybe one day they will release it again, but if not, it is likely that this will remain lost for a very long time. Thank you, Noah, for the recommendation, providing info, and even the English translation. Once you put something online, it's there forever. Is absolutely not true. Look at me in the eye and tell me it's impossible for Confessions from the Heart to go missing. Because it did. Even though we live in a digital world, because it's so big now and mainstream as it is, it's starting to become not so different from just being outside in terms of hiding because of how crowded it is now. We definitely take things for granted and just assume whatever we see online stays online, but as we will see, that's not the case. So let's talk about things you probably didn't know exist and may be surprised you haven't even heard about. This is lost media that shouldn't have been lost, whether it's for historical purposes or just shouldn't be lost as in it had so much opportunity to be archived. Late night talk shows are the perfect candidate for having lost media. A program that runs late at night with a new episode almost every day for years straight lets a whole lot of room for content to slip through the cracks. There's already a notable example like The Tonight Show with Jay Leno in 2001 when a blackout occurred, leading to the episode being filmed entirely in the dark with just lit candles. And what most people remember who were there watching, the controversial failed magician trick where they made it look like the person performing the trick failed and ended up cutting the other person for real. Though thankfully this was just an unclear joke that went over many people's heads. This episode was lost for the longest time until last year it would be uploaded on YouTube in 2025. As of the making of this video, the only major late night talk show still running is The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, but it ends in May 2026, Late Night with Seth Meyers, and Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Raul Menendez to be here on the show tonight, but he had other plans. Something about an
which is the main subject here. The title Jimmy Kimmel Live stands out as it's not called The Tonight Show or Late Night with yada yada, etc., etc. Despite the name of the show, it is not actually filmed live. They are filmed about 5 hours before they appear on TV, but this was not always the case, and the name of the show was very true and what made it stand out from the rest of the crowd. Surprisingly, the very top of the Wikipedia page for Jimmy Kimmel Live mentions this, saying, contrary to its title, the show has not regularly aired live since April 23, 2004, when censors were unable to properly censor a barrage of swearing from actor Thomas Jane. Its source links a news article from 2012 that goes over the history of the show and very briefly mentions this incident, but with nothing to add. It appears that the show had problems before the swearing incident, when they used to serve live alcohol on the set, and one of the audiences had too many drinks and thrown up on the show. Although I'm pretty sure this is real, I can't confirm it, as it's shockingly hard to find any information on this. You can find people talking about on a forum on the Lost Media Wiki, though shockingly it doesn't even have a proper entry on the website to talk about it. One user on the forum said it was season 3 episode 79, and Thomas Jane was a guest star to promote the Punisher movie he starred in at the time. During the taping, he would either start swearing all over the place or on accident. Sources varied, and this would lead to the show switching to pre-recorded. No source of this info is given. I tried looking up on Google about this topic with the date set to April 22nd and April 30th, as this episode aired on the 23rd, hoping maybe I would find a news article talking about this incident, but nothing of note came up except on the IMDb page, which supposedly was made when the episode was first aired, and lists Thomas Jane as one of the guests. I checked YouTube recordings, Internet Archive. Already we're at a dead end kind of. There's not much else to say, as there's not even much of a search happening at all. Maybe this video will give the topic more attention and people will look through their old recordings in hopes of finding it, as this is definitely an interesting topic and quite an important part of the show's history. Quick update, while editing this video, I actually found this news article from April 29th, which is exactly right around the time this episode would have aired. It does not mention any of the actual contents of who was in it, but it does mention about the show switching to pre-recorded format due to failures of censoring any swearing. So I think this should at the very least confirm that this is a real episode that has happened. But yeah, sorry about that. I don't know how I missed it. Whoops. I'm about to make some viewers feel old by saying this, but the era of Cartoon Network I grew up with was their See and Reel era. Up until around maybe We Bare Bears premiered. I watched too much TV as a child, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm passionate about the crap I watched. The stuff I watched during this era included Destroy, Build, Destroy, Hole in the Wall, Dude, What Would Happen, Flapjack, Problem Solvers, Secret Mountain Fort Awesome, Heroes 108, Almost Naked Animals, Thumb Wrestling Federation. I saw this on Disney once. Can we go back? What the fuck is it? How did I miss this? What? It came out in 2010?
Coming up on Cartoon Network. Next, a new Hot Dog TV.
Hot Dog TV was a miniseries about a bunch of hot dog puppets doing stuff, I guess. Jim Henson's son, Brian Henson, was involved with the show, believe it or not, as he directed some of the episodes in this series, and in fact, the puppets featured here were from one of the Henson's company's own stage shows, Stuffed and Unstrung. What's crazy is how obscure this is. When Hot Dog TV came out, it was during a time when Cartoon Network was slowly gaining track again after the whole See and Reel fiasco, with shows like Adventure Time, Regular Show, Mad, Symbionic Titan, and yet I don't think anyone watched this. These were 2-minute episodes that would air after the main program finished airing. Almost all the show is lost and believed to have 5 episodes. That's it. It's wild to think that this show just sneaked right in, no one batted an eye, and just disappeared. I honestly didn't even think this was real because it looked so out of place, and for a while the only found footage we had was a VHS recording, which I thought was a little weird for 2010. Eventually an episode would be found from a VHS recording, as I mentioned, alongside a TV bumper as well. You can also find an old forum of people talking about the show as well. Later on, people would find one of the voice actors uploading a demo reel containing a very brief snippet of Hot Dog TV. You would think that something from Cartoon Network from the 2010s wouldn't go missing, but it looks like you can. What's also kind of crazy is that Hot Dog TV is not the only one. For the longest time, Out of Jimmy's Head was lost media. Then you have Bobby Says and Track Rats, which are almost completely lost. Maybe you could say this was before the internet was mainstream and not everyone was into preservation as we are today, but this segues right into the next part. Confessions from the Heart was a special on the Roku channel released in 2022 on Kevin Hart's birthday. It was made to promote Kevin Hart's NFTs. Maybe this should have stayed lost. The special acted as an entrance for Kevin Hart into the metaverse. Confessions from the Heart consists of 4 stories told by Kevin Hart himself. Each story was taken directly from Kevin Hart's RIP IGTV series on Instagram, which is probably why the audio sucks.
A lot of you guys misinterpreted this scene, so I'm about to give you the real deal behind this and some of the stuff that just wasn't in the edit. So
the special would release July 6, 2022, but would get removed fast as December 2023. Trailers would still be up on YouTube, but the special would go missing for almost a year until YouTube user RevoShock would upload it in September 2024.
this one here is this is a story from when I was in Scandinavia and I got food poisoning.
Man, I'm not a fan at all of the art style. It looks like iPhone emojis had a child with the Team America movie. I don't know how else to describe it, and the animation itself is very shittily motion captured. I really hope this wasn't an expensive production, or else they got ripped off. Also, Kevin Hart sounds so uninterested telling these stories.
And I was like, yeah, it don't. It's good as hell though, but it don't. Ended up leaving the chicken alone.
Christmas of 2013, I would get the blue Nintendo 3DS XL with a copy of Sonic Lost World. Game was awful, by the way, but I would end up loving the 3DS to death. I would play Mario Kart 7, Tomodachi Life, Smash Brothers 3DS, make ugly Miis, Face Raiders, and just so much more. I would use the app on the 3DS like Spot Pass, the internet browser, and by the way, for an insane amount of time, just look at that, my god, Wii U too, Miiverse and YouTube. But one of these I used was Nintendo Video. Nintendo Video was an app for the 3DS released in July 2011 and was shut down June 2015. The app was basically another video streaming service, but was mostly content from Nintendo. The videos were mostly in 3D and would be downloaded through Spot Pass on the 3DS. For those who don't know, Spot Pass was sort of like using data on your 3DS instead of Wi-Fi. It would allow you to connect to other 3DS users as you were walking by in real life. You would connect to internet hotspots and Nintendo Zone locations. So you would use Spot Pass and you would receive clips from Nintendo Video. Honestly, the only ones I ever remember getting was the Shaun the Sheep one and Tomodachi Life. Surprisingly, despite Nintendo having a YouTube channel, a majority of these videos would be lost once the service was shut down. These clips range from music videos to movie trailers and exclusive Nintendo content like the Tomodachi miniseries that is still mostly missing. I would love to see the rest of that series get found, as the second Tomodachi Life game is incoming, and it's not certain how much of it is found either. I guess it makes sense why so much of this went unarchived, with the massive amount of content just being locked to the 3DS, I presume I overestimated how often people keep track of things. Quick question, how do you watch movies? Still using physical media like DVDs, Blu-rays, VCDs if you want your movies to look like it's from LiveLeak? How about watching illegal cam rips when a movie first comes out? Back then, theatrical cuts were a great candidate for lost media. Sometimes movies are slightly different when they go to home media. You'll see debates about how the Matrix movie was actually intended to look, or The Big Lebowski, as they would get color changes in later home releases. Sometimes the directors want to tweak something after its original release. The first Scary Movie was slightly different when it came to VHS and DVD, as one of the scenes where Buffy is talking Ghostface's ear off, the scene goes on for much longer, hammering on the joke that she just does not shut up at all. This can be found in the word print version, but you can see people online saying that this is the scene that they remember watching in theaters. I watched Alvin and Chipmunks in theaters, and I watched this scene where the chipmunks are hiding in the bowls, and for some reason young me was like, I am going to very distinctively remember this scene. And I remember Dave only picking up the middle bowl, while in the home release he picks up the left and middle bowl. Listen, I'm sure it's just Mandela effect. I was a weird kid. Leave me alone. I'm just dumb. Like, I also bugged my parents to watch Monsters vs. Aliens in 3D, only to very last second say, no, I don't want to watch this movie in 3D. So I end up watching the whole movie in red and blue without the glasses just to be an asshole. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. There is a pretty cool Twitter account actually that shows very old theater recordings called Theater Bootleg Archives. It has recordings old as the 90s, like 1991. Pretty cool. When Disney released The Incredibles 2, it would be 14 years after the first movie released. In theaters, before The Incredibles 2 would run, a short message would play showing the actors and creators apologizing on camera for taking so long on the sequel. The apology was never released on any of the DVDs, Blu-rays, or streaming services, so the only way to find this is theater bootlegs. But how many people actually recorded this segment that wasn't part of the movie? It appears not many, because as of January 2026, the video for it is still mostly lost, but we do have all the audio for it. A video uploaded in June 2018 would show for just 1 second of the video before cutting to the outro. For a while, this was all we had. Jump forward to August 2025 and a full audio recording would be discovered from actually another older video uploaded around the same time. It was a review of the movie and included some audience reactions and the full audio recording of the apology. The person who made the review was contacted and asked if he had the video of the apology. He would say he will look into it and see if he still has it, but never responded back as far as I'm aware. Making the video portion still lost. Who knows? Maybe it's still up floating somewhere on the internet, on some piracy site waiting to be found. It's crazy a Disney movie from not even a decade ago, with a clip in many theaters showed around the world, is now lost. Time moves on. We live our lives, do what we gotta do, and when responsibilities can be set aside, we distract ourselves with various media. We move on and repeat. Sometimes we get sucked in and absorbed into the content we watch, listen, play, or do. We get curious and find our niches that can slip into our personalities. But then you come across something, and you literally feel nothing. Hollow, and it disappears without you even realizing it. Eminem almost had a Wii U game where he was a ghost. Please care.
Eminem is inside my Wii U. Send help.
So, let's talk about it. This is lost media no one is looking for. It can be for a multitude of reasons. No one cared, no one even knew of it, or just never even bothered to look. Let's get right into it. Acid Ghost is what was rumored to be one of the big upcoming games for the Wii U. I'm not certain where exactly this rumor came from, but you can find a handful of articles with each giving out slightly different information. Basically, the summary is that Eminem was going to appear in a promotional video talking about a game called Acid Ghost, and the video would be played at Nintendo's E3 2012 as part of the upcoming lineup for Nintendo's at the time new console, the Wii U. For those who are unfamiliar, E3 was a major event from the 90s up until 2020, where all the big companies would announce their biggest upcoming games. In these 3 articles, they say the advertisement will show Eminem playing the game and that the video itself is in post-production at a marketing agency in Sacramento in California. This just sounds wild, and honestly, I'm still on the fence that this is some outlandish hoax that never existed. From some of the articles calling it a computer game, and the fact that it's said to be in post-production, yet nothing ever came out of it, ever. However, there's some very specific information from what may be the original source of this info. But again, I'm not certain. First off, it's never actually claimed that the game itself would be about Eminem. It only claims that Eminem would appear in an advertisement that would be shown at E3. Nothing about him being in the game or showing up on stage at E3. This is only my theory, but it could be that maybe Eminem only had slight involvement with the game, and he was being used as a big marketing gimmick for sales and clickbait articles. Like, what if it was only the music from Eminem was in the game? Maybe Eminem voiced a side character, or who knows, maybe he is the main character and the rumors making it crazy as it seems are actually true. As I said earlier, there's specific information about this supposed game that I think makes this rumor more believable. The earliest instance I could find of this rumor is from Go Nintendo. Here it gives a brief summary of the background of this game. It was originally going to be published by Konami for the Xbox 360 and PS3. The game would have been made by one of Kuji Entertainment's teams. Mid-edit here, just letting you know that actually it's pronounced Kuju for the company, and I called it Kuji every time. I even wrote Kuji and Kuju both ways in the script. For some reason, I only just now noticed that. I'm a goofball. Whoops. Sorry. The team part of Kuji made a tech demo to show Nintendo how they would use the Wii U gamepad. The tone of the game was going to be more comedic with dark humor. The game would take place on a cruise ship. In it, you would play as an invisible evil spirit that haunts and terrorizes passengers on the ship. The game was going to utilize the Wii U gamepad in multiple ways, like the Wii U tech demo mentioned, with examples like drawing blood on the walls to scare passengers, pick up objects, mess with objects like TVs and lights, walk into a woman's room while she is sleeping and move her bed into a kitchen, cover a kid's bed in spiders, and you'll be rewarded for how much you traumatize these passengers. This sounds awesome. All this info was dumped around May 17th, 2012, and again, nothing ever came out of it. Nothing at E3, nothing from Eminem, or any of the companies mentioned. Literally, it came and went. Even to this day, the only thing you will find from recent times are memes about this game coming to Nintendo Switch, which are obviously just jokes. With all that info, here's more into why I think this rumor could be true to some capacity. The developer mentioned Kuji Entertainment is a real company that did a lot of work for Konami and had a plethora of different teams. In fact, they had 9 different teams overall in their history. So this part of the story fits the bill. Then you have the rumor mentioning that the game was originally going to release for the Xbox 360 and PS3. This is not uncommon, and when I first read this, because it was shifted to Wii U, I immediately thought of the game Devil's Third, as this was an infamous game with a long development cycle that would release for the Wii U in 2015. By the way, you could say that this game has its own lost media, as it had a PC version that was only online multiplayer and has long shut down. Okay, but what about the amount of silence after this info? It was said that the advertisement was in post-production, and yet it never even leaked. Again, this is not unheard of. You can find a decent amount of examples of movies and games being completely finished, but never releasing. In fact, later in this video, we have an example like that. Games like Star Fox 2 and Star Wars Battlefront 3 were 90 to 95% complete, and yet we never even heard of Battlefront 3 until a decade after cancellation, as EA never announced it. Those are signs that Acid Ghost could be real, but I still have some doubt about this being real. After some digging, I come across an article from Go Nintendo talking about more info about the game, one of it being concept art alongside more information. However, it was proven that this concept art is not for this game and it was debunked. But we don't know if this is the same source of information from the first rumor. Going back to the info about the mechanics, something seems off to me, like walk into a woman's room while she's sleeping and moving her bed into a kitchen, covering a kid's bed in spiders. I'm trying to imagine what kind of style of gameplay would this even be. Honestly, this whole time when I'm reading this, I can only imagine it as an isometric game similar to how The Sims looks, or Diablo 2, but it kind of sounds like it wants to be a third-person game. I'm starting to realize that this could have been almost a whole video on Acid Ghost, so I'm not going into much more detail, as either way there's no definitive answer. So how do we find out? This should be fairly easy, I think. Obviously Konami is still around, but I'm not sure if they would respond to any emails about a rumored Wii U game from over a decade ago. I actually did ask someone who used to be in the QA department at Konami around 2012, but they said they never heard of it and doubt even if it was real, he would know of it, as his job at the time only had him on games ready to be released. I believe Kuji Entertainment is still around, sort of. In 2016, they merged with Curve Games, so it's unknown how much of Kuji is still with Curve 10 years after merging together. Also, keep in mind, we don't know which team was set to work on this game either. We could ask Eminem, but good luck with that. I encourage anyone to look further into this because I haven't slept good since May 17th, 2012. Please help me. If you're into old terrible video games like me, then you're likely familiar with Hong Kong 97. If not, to summarize it, it's an unlicensed game for the Super Famicom that was sold on a floppy disk. The Super Famicom doesn't officially support floppy disks. You had to buy a third-party floppy disk reader for the game console, and they were illegal as they were mainly used to copy games off of the cartridges, which was the standard format for the console. Hong Kong 97 was made in roughly a week with Japanese journalist Kaoun Kurosawa creating and directing the game. The whole staff consists of a friend of his who worked at Square Enix doing the programming. Said friend only contributed about 2 days to the project, another friend to translate the game into English, and hired a Hong Kong exchange student to translate the game into Chinese. It had an extremely limited release, with an estimate of only 70 copies ever existing in Japan. The game is known for being weird. The music is a 5-second loop from a Chinese propaganda song. The story is insane, with it being about Bruce Lee's made-up relative Chin, hired by Hong Kong to kill the entire population of China, which leads to China using their decapitated leader's head to become the ultimate killing machine. Also in Hong Kong 97, almost all the assets in the game were definitely used illegally without a license to the property owner and consent of the people, with using stock images of Bruce Lee, Coca-Cola being used for some of the background, and who knows what else. There was a great mystery surrounding the game over screen, as when you kill enemies and die in the game, it shows a picture of a real dead body. It was debated if this was real until the origins of the image was found from a VHS series called Death File, and the body in question is that of someone caught between conflict during the Bosnian Civil War. Despite this game never reaching far physically, digitally thanks to people bootlegging this bootleg to a cartridge, it made Hong Kong 97 more accessible. The game was able to reach other countries, then eventually being dumped on the internet and being known as one of the worst games all over online. I'm telling you all this because if you weren't aware of this game before, I wanted you to be fully intrigued by it and be curious about what the man behind the game also done, because there's a decent amount of lost media related to this game and the mentioned creators' projects. To Kaoun, Hong Kong 97 was only one of many things he had worked on, and kind of just the tip of the iceberg. Kaoun was a young adult in the late 80s and 90s trying to get by. He would release a new game every month at various markets as pocket money. He made VHS tapes, magazines, and more. Some of these projects are found, while a vast majority of them are lost. This isn't a full list, but here's what's known to be lost.
Takeshita no Yabo, Takeshita
Was the name of the Prime Minister of Japan at the time, and is similar to the Wizardry series. Bacter, a chatbot you could have a conversation with, Kowloon described the chatbot as rather boring. When asked what its personality was like, he described it as some average guy in the street. Violence City Sanya, a 30-minute VHS tape about a blue-collar district in Tokyo called Sanya. Filmed by Kowloon himself when he was 16, it's him getting into some trouble in Sanya.
心理比の戦い
A game based on a Japanese cult.
アウム真理教
This cult is extremely infamous for their terrorist attacks in the 90s, when they sprayed sarin, a toxic gas that attacks your nervous system. They've killed dozens of people and injured thousands. What made them stand out was how open this cult was, as they had their own public animated TV show and parades. They also ran shops and restaurants too. Kowloon lived in the district where the cult was very active, and they would hand out books, magazines, photos about their cult, and he would collect them, making him wanting to make a game about the cult. This game was made before the attacks. You take role as the cult itself and try to win an election by boosting your ratings. You could play tricks on the other political parties to cheat the system. There is another game based on
アウム真理教
released under the Happysoft label called
神食い式村物語
that is found and playable today, but was not actually made by Kowloon, but a friend of his. This was made after the subway sarin attacks. Then you have the documentaries, which aren't even known what they are called as far as I'm aware. Kowloon made the copies of his works himself and created the box art for them. These are by far the hardest things to find in this list, as according to Kowloon, most of these have less than 100 copies ever existing, and sold much less than that too. A majority of these may never be found again, or if they ever do get found, would they even still work? As most of these games and videos are over 30 years old now. To this day, Kowloon is still around making YouTube videos and as a writer for a magazine. Today, he is a bit more mellowed out compared to his younger days. Recently, him and a person who's been deep into archiving his works created a sequel to Hong Kong 97 called Hong Kong 2097. It's on itch.io and is only $10. Though, fair warning, it's just as tasteless as the first game, and Kowloon really does expose some of the worst in humanity in his works. If you were on the internet from the 2000s to early 2010s, you most likely remember
Can I have a large pizza? Large pepperoni, cheese, mushrooms, sausage, and... Can I get some... Oh, yes! Sorry, this fucking phone just hit me in the goddamn balls. I'm sorry. I got fucked.
This is Tourette's Guy, actual name Danny. These videos exploded in popularity in the 2000s, from showing up on eBombs World and other sites, before later making it to YouTube. You might recognize some of these clips as the videos were huge in internet culture back then. Although today it hasn't aged well for various reasons, I remember thinking, is this real? Now it's obviously fake and just for laughs. Some of these clips I still think about from time to time in my head. This series is ancient by internet terms, as according to the people behind the YouTube channel, the very first video in the series was made on Christmas of 2000, making it 2.5 decades old as of this video. This wasn't even shared online, but within friends and family to watch and laugh at via sharing the VHS tape. According to them, this is long lost unfortunately. However, this is not the only thing lost related to Tourette's Guy. 5 videos that were uploaded online of Tourette's Guy are lost. Obviously the first one from 2000 can't really be tracked down because as far as we know only one copy exists and was never meant to be shared publicly. But these 5 had a presence online and it appears no one saved them. These 5 videos being Danny trying to watch TV but he can't stop cussing, Danny trying to play Nintendo but he can't stop cussing, Danny getting so drunk that he falls into a bathtub, 4 very intense episodes of Tourette's syndrome, and a partially found one trying to order pizza, but guess what? Yeah, he can't stop cussing. These are what's listed on the Lost Media Wiki. What makes it kinda tricky to track these videos is that these videos were shared on dozens of platforms. On the flip side though, this does make it more likely that it could be hiding somewhere on some obscure website, or that someone happens to still have it saved on an old computer. These videos are much older and were made when the series was just called Tony the Tiger. As Danny always wore a Frosted Flakes t-shirt, this could help narrow it down on where to search for, as we know that this is the era of E-Bomb's World and You're the Man Now Dog, searching to see what the other sites during this time period may have shared it. But as time goes on, more likely these sites will continue to shut down. Did you know from 2003 to now, the only show to win the favorite cartoon category at the Kids' Choice Awards was Avatar in 2008? There's an interest in this search, but it appears no one really either got to it or was able to get any information, as there hasn't been really any new info since these two games were first announced. I would like to at the very least spread more attention to these two games for some closure. The Hyperscan was a failed video game console from 2006 created by Mattel. The gimmick of the console was that it had a built-in scanner. Each game would come with a few cards. These cards had chips in it, and you would use the cards to play and unlock content. The system was a huge failure, as it would discontinue only a year later, with only 5 games ever releasing for the Hyperscan, with it being X-Men, Ben 10, Interstellar Wrestling League, Marvel Heroes, and Spider-Man. However, there are 2 known games set to be released for the console that never came out: Avatar: The Last Airbender and Nick Extreme Sports. These 2 games are completely lost. No ROMs dumped, no screenshots, no the cards, no info. All we have are the pictures of the boxes. Let's start with Avatar. This one was most likely finished and rumored to may have a couple copies be sent out to retailers, but there's no proof of it. I could be misremembering, but I want to say I recall seeing an Amazon listing of this game that was never available to purchase, but it showed the game and some info about it, but I can't find this Amazon listing anymore anywhere. We know this game exists because it was mentioned at San Diego Comic-Con in 2006, where the Hyperscan was first announced. And on the back of some of these games mentions Avatar as well. I found this article saying that the game was planned to release in January 2007, but I couldn't find any other sources that talk about this, so the validity is uncertain. Then there's Nickelodeon Extreme Sports. Supposedly this was the last game announced for the console, but where was this announced? None of the packaging or boxes of the game mentions it, unlike Avatar. It doesn't appear to be mentioned when the Hyperscan was shown at Comic-Con 2006, though it was said that this game was announced later. I tried finding articles in websites that weren't made long after the system's discontinuation, but I couldn't find anything. My only guess is that maybe it was on the website for the Hyperscan, but unfortunately it isn't fully archived. If you try to click on anything, nothing shows up. So we have 2 games with no info, and one we don't even know how we discovered it. Where do we go from here? Well, I've done some digging myself, and here's my findings. Out of the 5 games released for the Hyperscan, 4 of them was made by Semi-Logic, and the last one was made by Digital Eclipse and Backbone Entertainment, with the game being Interstellar Wrestling League. However, I think it's likely that those 2 games were also made by Semi-Logic or an unknown developer. I managed to get in contact with the executive producer of Interstellar Wrestling League, and they told me that they had no recollection of working on those 2 games, and that as far as he was aware, the wrestling game was the only project that those companies were assigned with. So the most likely situation is that these 2 games were made by a team from Semi-Logic. Thankfully, these games do have credits, and see who worked on them. We can try contacting one of these people who worked on them. I did actually get in contact with one of the artists who worked on Ben 10 and Marvel Heroes, but he said they don't know anything outside of those 2 games and never even used the console. He was just an artist working from another state. Obviously, please respect these people's privacy and don't call them on personal phone numbers. The Hyperscan was a failed console from 20 years ago that no one liked, and they may not even remember it still. I do have a lot of hope that one day these 2 games will get found eventually. For those super into Lost Media, which I assume is most people watching this video, do you ever dream of just stumbling upon Lost Media and being the first one to find it? Whether it's going to a thrift store and discovering a VHS tape that has some lost commercials, or buying something in bulk on eBay and finding unreleased merchandise. This is what happened to Maurice Park, someone from England who was an enthusiast about history. In 2009, on eBay would pop up a listing that was named along the lines of old movie film in tin. It was up for only £3.20, or roughly $5 USD. This would grab Maurice's attention, not because he wanted to know what movie was inside, but rather he liked the look of the metal tin the film was in. In interviews, Maurice said that the tin had a lovely look to it. He enjoyed decorating his home with antiques and also liked to buy and resell them as a hobby. So he purchased a tin and left it in his home, not even opening it for a while. When he did open it, he would see a 35mm nitrate film reel and a label Charlie Chaplin in Zept. Maurice would try to find information on this movie but could not find any information at all at the time. His interest was peaking now. Now, he was starting to wonder if he unearthed a long-lost Charlie Chaplin movie. Luckily, he had a neighbor and a friend who worked at the British Board of Film Classification, John Dyers. The film would be analyzed, and this is where we learn about how unique it is. Zept is dated to 1916 and is a World War I propaganda short about the Zeppelin attacks on London. As far as film historians know, none of the clips with Charlie Chaplin are original and stolen from other movies with Chaplin in it. However, researchers realized that some of the footage doesn't exactly line up and think that it could be outtakes from previous movies. This what appears to be a bootleg propaganda movie, and it also has stop motion animation as well. Screenings of the movie were rare, and the film was exported to Egypt and would be missing for roughly 90 years. There's plenty of unanswered questions, like who exactly made this? Was Charlie Chaplin aware of all this production? How did they get unused footage from previous Chaplin films? Unfortunately, none of these are answered still. But where is this movie? How many copies are there? So far, only 2 copies are known to exist. The first one being the one Maurice purchased on eBay. After sending his copy for research, when he got it back, Maurice tried to auction the film on Bonhams in June 2011. However, no one bidded the amount that he wanted for, which was a minimum of £100,000. It is still unknown if the film reel is in Maurice's possession. Only 1 month after the failed auction would a second copy appear, this time at a secondhand shop in Sheffield, in the same fashion as the eBay listing. It was inside a tin and was sold alongside other items in a junk lot. The copy would be bought by Brian Han. This copy differed slightly from the other one, interestingly enough, and might be an unfinished cut. It was missing the Zeppelin opening footage. Unfortunately, this copy is less documented than Maurice's, and it's truly unknown what happened to it. We don't know if it was sold, stay in the same hands of the owner, or what. Despite having snippets from when Maurice was interviewed with BBC about this story, the full movie still remains unviewable online to this day. You can find a video on YouTube claiming to be the full movie. However, it's not real, and you can tell as none of the footage lines up with the footage that we have seen already, and none of the descriptions we have show up in the video either. What was once found is potentially lost again. My first video on this channel was originally going to be on this massive iceberg about Chinese internet horror culture. It had over 1,000 entries and dozens of categories, one of them being about lost media. I scrapped this video because it felt a little too overwhelming for me as a first video, and also the website the iceberg was hosted on was deleted. This was the nail in the coffin for me, as the website lets you click on each entry, sending you a link to its topic and other useful features, which is sad because it had awesome topics like AI generated marketing accounts and mass producing videos to induce the elderly to off themselves. Not only that, but it gave summaries too on each entry to give an idea before deep diving. Not having that, while also having to scan the website through Google Translate instead of just the browser doing it for you, made it way too time consuming for what I wanted to be out within a month. Because of its sudden deletion, I didn't have enough topics for what I felt could have been called an iceberg video, so I scrapped it. One topic though that I had already scripted stuck out to me, and I wanted to find a spot to talk about it. Nothing crazy, but it was a fun research. Female zombie. Potentially China's first zombie movie ever. From the year 1941, predating Night of the Living Dead by 27 years, the movie that started many of the common tropes we see in zombie movies today, like the way the zombies walk, the way the zombies look and sound. There's zombie flicks before Night of the Living Dead, but they both had their own idea of what a zombie is like. Female Zombies is China's idea of what a zombie movie would be like. This is a very obscure entry and was a bit difficult to research. This movie is confirmed to exist because it's listed on 1905.com, which is an official website for streaming movies and also being an archival database as well. However, it does not give that much information. Only the title of the movie, genre, and the cast are given, so I had to look elsewhere. You can find a barrage of websites, all with basically the same info. This also led to me finding this weird website, not really related, and I don't trust it as an official source, but I still just want to share this, just look at it. Here's the overall gist of the movie. The movie is directed and written by Mei Qian, who does not have many movies under his belt, most of which are lost. Depending on your translation, it could also be called Female Mummy. The story goes is that there's an abusive relationship with a dancer named He and a control freak man named Li. He falls in love with a better man who's a scientist named Wu. This makes Li jealous and enraged and attempts to murder Wu, but fails and ends up killing He instead when she tried to save Wu. Later on, a doctor named Zhao and his assistant steal He's body to revive her back to life and turn her into a killing machine. Zhao wants an antitoxin formula from Wu, the scientist, which is why Zhao chose He. Zhao's plan would be successful in stealing the formula and plans to kill Wu so Zhao can take credit on the formula. However, He is not the only body that Zhao has stolen. Zhao has an entire underground of bodies that he uses for experimenting on. This would lead to a focus on two detectives who would investigate, and Zhao would become aware of this investigation and would end up luring the investigators to his lab, in which a battle would break out. A handful of images are found, like this movie's poster giving the plot synopsis, and I believe this still is maybe from the movie. However, I kept seeing this image, and after reverse image searching it, I'm given the impression that this is actually from a different movie. The biggest find, however, would come from when reverse image searching this still that I believe to be authentic. After lacking results on Google and Baidu, I tried Yandex, basically Russian Google, and I found this, an article with the image in Russian about a theater playing the movie on September 28th, 2025. Somehow, a copy of Female Zombie was found and landed in the hands of a Russian movie theater dedicated to preserving film called Illusion Film Theater. They translated it with Russian subtitles. This is the only known copy at the moment. Besides the location status of the movie being known now, the only new info we got out of this is the overall runtime of the movie, running at 56 minutes. I came across a site that had Russian reviews of this movie after the theater showing, talking about it being a so bad it's good movie, likely like a old B-movie film, and questioning if this was meant to be a comedy. I couldn't find this site with the reviews, but I did get curious to see if any of the past sources listed this as a comedy, and I didn't see a single one. So a Russian archivist has it and shown to theaters. Where can we watch it now? Nowhere! Despite this being last year of this video, you still can't watch this movie at all online. I looked up on Baidu, Bilibili, YouTube, Yandex, none. Nothing. I even tried emailing the theater, but no response at all. I hope this movie gets uploaded one day because with it being a early zombie movie from China, the plot and the reviews has me fully intrigued, but for now, The Tension of the Dead will just have to do. It's no surprise that a show running long as Sesame Street would have lost media. 56 seasons, 4,000 plus episodes starting from 1969 with limited home media is the perfect recipe for content to get lost. You see people watching every Simpsons episode, but never I watched every Sesame Street episode. The show was better before JonTron left. As of this video, there are currently 53 episodes of Sesame Street that are lost. There's a few popular lost media cases related to this show, most popular being Wicked Witch of the West and Snuffy's parents get a divorce. Wicked has been fully found and you can watch it. So we'll talk about Snuffy instead. This was an episode that was fully completed and intended to air sometime in spring 1992. However, when test screening the episode, reactions were so negative that they scrapped the episode last minute, making this a very special case of the only completed episode to never air even as of 2026, or at the very least as far as we are aware of. As the name implies, this is an episode trying to teach children of when parents get a divorce and how to cope with it. Of course, this is a very sensitive topic, and although we can't watch the episode, from the reception of the test screening, it gives off the impression that this maybe wasn't a well-handled episode, or just a subject too complex for its very young audience. Most likely the latter, as the script for this episode was reviewed by psychologists to make sure that this topic was well handled. When the screening was over, it was said that some of the children were confused and didn't know how to feel after watching. Some thought their parents were going to be divorced, and also if they did get divorced, it means that they don't love them anymore. Some parents were happy with the episode, and overall a lot of unintended reactions. In fear of what might happen if this broadcast on public television, they scrapped the episode. Since this was only ever shown at test screenings in the 90s, there's no TV recordings, no audience recordings. You just had to be one of the audience in 1992 to watch this. There's plenty of evidence of the episode existing from various newspapers, so how do we know this episode is found and still in someone's possession? We would not see any footage of this episode until 17 years later when a book documenting the series for its 40th anniversary in 2009 called 123 Sesame Street, A Celebration, 40 Years of Life on the Street. On page 161, you can see a screenshot and some info about the episode, like how this is the only episode where we actually see Snuffy's dad. We wouldn't see screenshots or footage of this until 2019, when the Museum of the Moving Image in New York City would play the episode on November 24th, 2019. This was part of a Lost and Found event celebrating the show's 50th anniversary. This makes the episode being viewed to the public for the first time in 27 years. Not only was this episode shown, but so was also the other at the time lost Sesame Street episode, Wicked Witch of the West. However, no footage of this full episode would surface online. Then, a couple years later in 2021, ABC would celebrate the show's 50th anniversary with a documentary called Sesame Street 50 Years of Sunny Days, and for the first time we would see actual footage of this lost episode. However, the documentary did not contain the full episode, and only shown segments of it. These past two events confirm that the episode is well documented and in the hands of multiple people. However, despite this, the full episode still remains unavailable to watch to the public to this day. It's only a matter of if and when a company releases the full episode. I'm throwing this in as a bonus because, well, even if this was uploaded online, you still can watch it because it's a video game. You can't play it! But also, I don't have many topics for this subject because, well, found media you can't watch isn't something specifically categorized. When something like this happens, it's usually still labeled as lost and not found. On a video from Magic Mush, he briefly talks about the Me and My Friends pilot and how this person was hoarding this from anyone else. He calls this behavior media squatting, and honestly, this is a great name and we should use this more often. Though for this video, only the Charlie Chaplin segment and this game really applies, but still, sorry, I'm yapping. So what is this supposed game? Beanball Benny, a cancelled beat 'em up for the Sega Genesis. It was developed by Microsmiths, who you may know for another cancelled game, Drax Night Out, the game with Reeboks pumps branding in it. Beanball Benny was cancelled most likely because of the publisher New Vision closing its doors. BMPE Drums from the Digital Press Forums found the prototype of the game and uploaded himself playing it on YouTube in 2010, showcasing some of the levels, like how the game also has driving sections too. BMPE Drums bought Beanball Benny and another prototype from the same developer and publisher for the Genesis called Swamp Thing. However, after uploading these videos online, he would sell the prototypes on eBay. BMPE Drums never dumped the ROM for either game, but later in 2010, Swamp Thing would get its ROM released online on Sega Age by Mr. Mark 0673. In a post, he says he bought the Swamp Thing prototype from BMPE Drums, and a different Sega Age user, DreamTR, got Beanball Benny. You may or may not recognize this name depending on where you come from, but this is a person who is an avid collector. This is someone who has a collection of over 16,000 games. He even owned an arcade in Tennessee, but this isn't great news because DreamTR also collects a lot of prototypes, except he is very much in it for the value. He has a history of not dumping prototypes to keep their value high and wait for someone to willing to pay his price. This is the same person who intentionally uploaded a low quality video of Socks the Cat Rocks the Hill, a game based on Bill Clinton's cat, just to troll people who kept asking him to dump it online. Though eventually that game did get released when someone bought the prototype off of him, so it is likely that Beanball Benny is still in DreamTR's hands, and the only thing that he would be willing to do is sell it to someone for the right price. There's not a lot of info on this game. There is a third game canceled when New Vision shut down called Guardian Angels Safety Patrol from the same developer, and judging from the description of the game, it is possible that Beanball Benny may be turned into Guardian Angels Safety Patrol, or vice versa, but this is not confirmed and zero footage of that game exists. There is so much lost media. Thousands upon thousands of movies gone from poor handling conditions of the past, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of TV completely gone worldwide, again for many reasons. From not being able to record what you saw before the 1970s, to nobody thinking to record something mundane as a commercial, or literally no one wanted it. There is simply too much lost media. As I've slowly started to upload videos on my channel, people have requested what they wish to be found one day in my comment sections. Some of them I find interesting myself, and some, while I particularly don't care for, can see that it matters a lot to them. Even if not a lot of people come searching for these topics, sometimes all you need is one person with the right resources to come in. I'll be splitting the requests into 3 categories: TV and film, gaming, and music. This is lost media my viewers want found. Guitar Hero 7, requested by Hydrosauce. This is a cancelled game in the Guitar Hero series. This would have been the last game to release in the franchise before going on hiatus until 2015 with Guitar Hero Live, which underperformed critically and sales-wise. Guitar Hero 7 was going to be different from the other games. First off, the game was developed by Vicarious Visions. This change in lead developer was most likely due to Neversoft, the ones originally working on the games at the time. They were switching over to become a support team for the Call of Duty series in 2011, which was when Guitar Hero 7 planned to release. Second, it was going to have a new controller. It would have 6 strings and an extra button. The way it would work in game, the 6 strings would be intended to be used for playing colored notes on specific strings instead of a single strum bar working on all buttons, making it feel more like a real guitar. Guitar Hero 7 would be cancelled due to issues with development, but I imagine the declining sales of the games and the immense burnout from releasing multiple entries a year, plus Rock Band in the same, did not help either. Although there is no playable build of this cancelled game online, you can find a handful of screenshots and a video as well of it. Interestingly, the video we have was released by an animator who worked on Guitar Hero 7 when updating their portfolio in 2025, so it's possible that one of the developers still has access to the playable build. Metal Slug 1995 build, requested by MC Hank. This entry is only really going to be interesting to Metal Slug fans, but to briefly describe it to those unfamiliar, Metal Slug is a popular 2D run and gun series that's been going on since 1996 and still receiving games to this day. They are known for their 2D art style, fast-paced gameplay, and humor. Before Metal Slug was released, a demo was shown at the Amusement Machine Show in September 1995. What makes this demo special is how different it is compared to the final game, which would only release 7 months later. Most notably, you can't exit the tank. In this build, you only play as the tank. The level design is centered around it, so the level structure is different as well. Overall, making a slower and clunkier experience. The level design, characters, mechanics, and the story are completely different. This was all changed due to poor reception during playtesting. We have plenty of screenshots from various Japanese gaming magazines covering the game at the time, but to this day, not a single playable ROM of this prototype has been released. We don't know either if the prototype is still in the hands of SNK, the developers of the game. It is impressive how they were able to drastically change the game so much in such a short notice, but regardless, this is something that's very much a relic for the community. Monster Farm, requested by Anthony, a short-lived animated series that aired on Fox from 1998 to 1999, with a total of 26 episodes, but only 13 of them aired in US, while the rest aired in various countries like Germany, Poland, and Russia. The show is about a young guy named Jack, whose uncle gives him a farm with monster animals such as Count Cluckia, a vampire rooster, Gotosaurus Rex, a goat kaiju who can breathe fire, Scarewolf, a werewolf dog, Frankenswire, a Frankenstein pig, and Zombief, a zombie cow, with more as well. Fun fact, Alex Borstein and Steve Marmol, two writers of the show, would later have major success writing Family Guy, with even Alex being the voice of Lois Griffin. As of 2026, only half of the show is found. Although there is 26 episodes, each episode contains 2 segments, so really it's closer to 52 episodes. Out of these 52 episodes, only 4 of the English versions have been found online. I found this Reddit post from Weird Maths talking about the show and how he contacted the show's creator, Taylor Grants, via Twitter and got some info about it, like how the show was mostly produced without Taylor, and that unfortunately he doesn't have any of the episodes. Weird Maths also said that he tried contacting various other people on the show, but never got any responses. It appears to be a matter of anyone having a recording of the English episodes to become aware that they are lost. Disney Channel Wand Idents, requested by Johnny Cash's stand-in. This fits in with the theme of something you wouldn't expect to be lost. In the 2000s and early 2010s, Disney on their TV channel would have these iconic segments called Wand Idents. Despite this being a huge franchise like Disney and Disney Channel being so popular, there are actually a lot of wand IDs that are lost, over 100 in fact, from the entire bumper itself to different variations like short versions, international ones, etc. Some examples like one with Shia LaBeouf or even Stevens, some for Hannah Montana, Lizzie McGuire, That's So Raven, Corey in the House, and a lot more. I will leave a link in the description to the Lost Media Wiki page, which has an extensive list of the bumpers that are known to be lost. Some of these bumpers aren't even confirmed to exist. If you see any that you think you remember seeing and have old TV recordings from the Disney Channel of the time, definitely check, as you might have something lost that's not been archived. Wazoo. What a zoo. This wasn't requested, but it was mentioned in my first video by Nero Blackstar, and I found this show interesting. Wazoo What a Zoo is a French show from 2004 that aired on Disney. Wazoo had an English and Serbian dub as well. The English dub airing in Canada on the TVO Kids channel and Canal D in Serbia. The show is about a group of goofy aliens coming across an abandoned television satellite, and they watch the screen on it to learn about what people do on Earth. This show is almost absent on the internet. There are 25 episodes believed to be made for this series, but only one survived, which is the Serbian dub uploaded by the television network themselves on YouTube. The episodes are short and are only around 5 minutes each. There was a website for this series too, but unfortunately it's been barely archived. Wazoo was animated by Okie Dokie Studios and was distributed by Upside Television. It appears both companies are now defunct, but I did try contacting someone who used to work at Okie Dokie Studios, though they came in after the show ended. They told me that they would try contacting someone that they know that did work on the series, but I am still waiting a response from them. One episode, the website, and a handful of screenshots is all we have. If you happen to watch the show back then and know anything more, let us know in the comments. Two Toes, requested by Sinister Cortex. Two Toes is about a group of aliens from the planet Pluto. You have Joseph, Tasha, Morty, Uki, and Stevie, the 5 horsemen. Their goal is to teach kids morals. They were created by a man named G-SAVIOUR, except that's not his real name. More on that later. Joe was born and raised in Santa Maria, California, which is where Two Toes happened as well. Two Toes would appear at the Santa Maria Times newspapers as comic strips in the mid-1990s. If anyone here watching this grew up in the Santa Maria area can confirm this, but Two Toes was a decently successful gig for Joe. You can find footage of live stage shows for kids. A Chuck E. Cheese in Santa Maria was renovated into a Two Toes themed restaurant. Two Toes were even considered the city's mascots for a while, and plenty of ambitious projects in the works, though most never came through. Joe wanted Two Toes to be huge. For example, the said ambitious projects included having a Two Toes animated TV show, appearing at Universal Studios, dedicated comics, and plushies, in which you would get from McDonald's. Some of these happened, and some had progress, and some never went past the idea stage. It's hard to say how much of Two Toes is lost. We know for a fact that there are comic strips in the local newspapers, and a cancelled cartoon show, but the rest is unknown. Sinister Cortex found plushies. It's not known how these were given away, or if they were released, but a seller from Santa Maria had 3 plushies that was dated 1998. I also found an eBay listing of posters and even media press kits. I mentioned earlier about Joe not being his real name. Joe's real name is Daryl Meeks. It is possible that Daryl was a con artist and gone under multiple different names to hide his shady history. Daryl had a spot in the Vegas Stars, even though he is mostly unheard of outside of Santa Maria. I won't go into it too much in some of its info. There's this article talking about it, but I don't believe all of it is true. Like saying the restaurant was never built. Some of his friends stepped up as well, saying that the person who wrote this article had a personal vendetta against Daryl. It's something I don't want to go into, and regardless, it doesn't matter anymore, as Daryl would eventually pass away from brain cancer, unfortunately, in 2023 at the age of 64. I am currently waiting for a response from one person who used to be close with Daryl, and if they respond with some good info, I'll post an update in my post section. I'm sort of combining 2 requests into one. Blue Baron requested 4Kids Lost Media, with nothing in particular, just 4Kids in general. And Gogo Kawaii requested a Lost TMNT episode, specifically the 2003 show, which was a part of 4Kids. There is a lot of 4Kids Lost Media, and you can find quite a few videos about 4Kids Lost Media. I will just link these videos as they go in depth and cover the topic better than I can, but I'll still go over it briefly to see if it interests you. 4Kids was a company that specialized in localizing anime to a Western audience. They are sort of infamous as they would censor the shows to cater more to children and also change certain things for the West. It's sometimes done well, and sometimes it's done real lazily, like calling rice balls jelly-filled donuts in Pokemon, but not actually reanimating them to be donuts. So they're just calling what's clearly a rice ball a donut. 4Kids had their own TV block in the US, and their works would air on other channels in other countries, like Teletoon in Canada. Some of the lost media range from entire shows that never aired, to certain episodes that are not archived, and to what I personally would like to see are the 4Kids 4th of July blocks.
Stars of 4Kids will sing the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see?
If you are from the US and never been on Twitter or maybe Blue Sky on 4th of July, you might have seen these 4Kids commercials posted as memes. There are other variants of this and are lost, and I would love to see it get found just for the laughs. Now on to the TMNT episode. I personally barely watched the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show, but I did have the Xbox game for it when I was little, and I remember never playing it because the disc was too scratched. That added nothing to the conversation, I'm sorry. The episode in question is Nightmares Recycled. What was supposed to be a season 5 episode never happened. Nightmares Recycled was pulled from the season entirely before completion, and has never publicly released in any form. A work print exists, but again, the final episode wasn't finished. Multiple forum users, including the official TMNT staff, confirmed this is a real episode. The episode focuses on the Garbage Man character's origins, how he was part of a conjoined twin separated by a back alley surgeon who then experimented on the Garbage Man as an infant with acid before discarding him. It is possible that this episode could be released on a future DVD of sorts, kind of like how the Invader Zim DVD had unreleased material, but I wouldn't hold your breath on it. Obviously, Nightmares Recycled was cancelled because of its dark material, and also TMNT had another episode that did finish and air, but got banned for similar reasons, called Insane in the Membrane. Although there is doubt that this will be found from some staff, it is possible someone still has it. Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad Team Samurai The Legend Begins, what a mouthful, requested by Toku Waffle. Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad was a TV series that aired from 1994 to 1995 on the ABC network. It lasted one season with 53 episodes. The series was an adaptation of the Japanese series Electronic Warrior Gridman. It's basically Power Rangers, but without Power Rangers. The Legend Begins is the cancelled 1995 direct-to-video movie based on the show. The only proof of its existence is an announcement trailer shown on some of the show's VHS tapes. It's not known how much of the movie was made or if it was even an original movie. During this time, it was not uncommon to claim you have a movie, but actually it was just 3 episodes of a show put together. For example, the Donkey Kong cartoon from the 90s had a VHS tape advertised as a movie, but was just the same show, but with 3 episodes edited together. They weren't even in the correct order. With Superhuman Samurai, it's hard to really know if we even have anything defined. This potentially could just be something announced, but never stepped in production phase. Regardless, it's an interesting mystery for those into this niche, and I would love to watch an unfinished Diet Coke Power Rangers. Easter, requested by Void Boys. This is a short film running around 31 minutes long. The plot is about a couple watching a gay adult movie, and the husband realizes he might be gay, while the wife also suffers a psychological breakdown and ultimately burns herself, ending up hospitalized. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked how your day was. This is all we know about the story. The film was written by Harmony Korine as part of an ambitious but ultimately cancelled anthology project titled Jokes. Easter was the only one to be finished. The screenplay for Easter was apparently published as part of Korine's collected screenplays, released by Faber & Faber in 2002, meaning the script itself is technically accessible to anyone who can track down a copy of that out-of-print book, but I have yet to buy the book and read through it to see if it's there, so take this info with a grain of salt. The Easter segment itself did premiere at showings, however. Easter premiered at the Venice Film Festival in 2000. It was shown at Harmony Korine retrospective screenings in various US cities, and no theatrical run or broadcast is known to have occurred. These images are the only stills of this movie that we have. It's unknown if this will ever get a home media release. Alan Tutorial, requested by Dr. Moon 1200. Alan Tutorial is a horror first but also comedic YouTube series about a guy making odd tutorial videos. The videos start off normal-ish, then slowly get weirder and more concerning with each video. Here's the first video.
On the paper. So first thing you gotta do is you rip off a piece of paper and you're gonna put the paper on the floor. Next thing you do is you gotta take the fork.
And here's the last video.
And it's torn.
The series lasted from 2011 to 2014 with overall 64 videos. Fun fact, Alan Tutorial is created by Alan Resnick, the same person who did unedited footage of a bear, This House Has People in It, and voiced Zane in Common Side Effects. The lost media comes in with the video How to Change. When you watch it now, it is silent for 1 minute until nice jazz music plays. However, when the video was first uploaded, it did indeed have sound. The sound for this video is lost, as there is no re-upload that has it. Thankfully, due to a glitch, we can get a gist of what Alan was saying, as the auto-generated subtitles were still displaying for a while even after the video was muted. Some videos on the Alan Tutorial channel have been deleted over the years, but they have been re-uploaded and archived. However, How to Change his original audio still remains lost. These 3 shows were requested by Happy Colored Grimsy, The Kids from Caper, Getting Together, and Lovecast USA, all from the 1970s. These shows, besides Lovecast, aren't completely lost, and can find some episodes, but not all of them are archived, as I said. The Kids from Caper was a comedy series that aired on NBC from September 1976 through November of that year. All 13 episodes were produced and directed by Stanley Z. Cherry. Among the executive producers was a rock music producer named Don Kirshner. Both Cherry and Don previously worked on The Monkees, Cherry having written an episode in 1968, while Don served as the original music supervisor up until 1967. The show has never received an official home media or streaming release of any kind. You can find a few episodes on YouTube, but the majority of them are lost. Since TV recordings weren't really a thing in the early 70s, it's uncertain if any of the 3 shows listed will ever be found. Lovecast USA is a 1973 animated TV special from the same company known for their work on the Pink Panther cartoon series. It aired on January 6, 1973 as part of the ABC Superstar movie, a Saturday morning anthology block that ran on ABC. The block was notable for serving as a testing ground for potential series, featuring pilots and one-off specials from studios including Hanna-Barbera, Filmation, and Warner Brothers. No copy of Lovecast USA is known to exist in public circulation and can find people online in the past searching for it. Getting Together was a short-lived musical sitcom that aired on ABC during 1971 to 1972, starring teen idol Bobby Sherman and Wes Stern. ABC canceled the series just after 14 episodes. It is notable as a spin-off to The Partridge Family. Sherman died in June 2025, adding renewed urgency to find efforts to see the series properly preserved and released. About 6 episodes are available online, and interestingly, some of them were uploaded about 6 months ago as of this video by Warped Records, who appear to have the film reels of the show. It's unknown how they got it or how many episodes they have though. Phineas and Ferb, the movie. Candace Against the Universe. Requested by Ponix. No, the movie is not lost. What this refers to is a deleted scene in it, which featured a character named Milo, a character from a spin-off show created by the same people as Phineas and Ferb. Milo was going to appear in the movie, but was scrapped because the idea of Milo is that whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and the staff of the film didn't want to give the idea that all the problems in the movie were because of Milo. We know this because Dan Povenmire, the creator of the show, talked about it in an Instagram live stream. Milo's character is voiced by Weird Al, and even though his character was cut from the film, he would voice another character instead, so he isn't completely absent from the film. There is no footage or audio from these deleted scenes. The only music topic in this video, Coyote 888 is an indie rock band from New Zealand formed in 2018. This topic was requested by Benrol Grob. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. The band was active from 2016 to 2018, then briefly again around 2021 to 2022. Coyote was formed by 2 brothers, Jeremy, who now goes by the alias Frog Power, and Luis, who sadly passed away in 2022 at just the age of 19 from a seizure. You can find the Bandcamp page for Coyote, however, what's listed on it is not all of what the band had to offer. In total, there are 6 EPs, Life is Grey, Timing the Centaur, Hotel for Dogs, Wine Man, Back to the Shop, A Monkey Was Struck by a Bullet Will Bleed and Die, and a unreleased 2022 album. Only Hotel for Dogs and Taming the Centaur are still accessible. The rest are lost. Ben has got in contact with Jeremy, asking about these other releases. However, Jeremy claims that he unfortunately no longer has any of the files for these projects anymore, making these songs lost to him as well. The 2022 album is most likely lost forever, but it is possible that someone out there still has the rest of the EPs somewhere. Ren has tried searching for himself, but has reached a dead end. I will leave a link to Coyote's Bandcamp page in the description, so if you want to listen to their music and are interested in helping out the search, go right ahead. Ben has also created a Google spreadsheet as well of all the tracks and versions available as well. This will also be in the description too. I have been fascinated with mainland China for a long time now, specifically its internet and entertainment side. Since most things that aren't from China are banned or heavily censored, they have a specialized app just for the country. Instead of Facebook, they have WeChat. Instead of YouTube, they have Bilibili. Instead of Spotify, they have QQ Music, and the list goes on. Even Chinese apps like TikTok are actually split into two versions, with an international and a Chinese version called Douyin. Unlike Japan, where there's a lot of English coverage on its internet, there is not nearly as much English coverage for China's internet and history. What led me here now is this video by Farrell McGuire, Horrors on the Chinese Internet. He mentioned that his primary source was a gigantic iceberg going over hundreds of topics, one of them being lost media. This led to me finding out that there's a Chinese version of the Lost Media Wiki. And since I wasn't too interested with all the lost media topics on the iceberg, I decided to look at all the available pages on the Chinese Lost Media Wiki and make my own iceberg. I'm not going to put all my findings into one video for time constraint reasons, as this was originally going to be my first video on the channel. And also I encourage you all to go on the site for yourself and explore any topics that you may find interesting. Quick shoutouts to the Chinese Lost Media Discord for helping me with some research, and also shoutouts to my good friend Joe for pronouncing words that I can't. Thank you, Joe. Both the iceberg and the Lost Media Wiki and its Discord will be in the video's description. Without further ado, here's my Chinese Lost Media iceberg, or 29 pieces of Chinese Lost Media, or Chinese Lost Media, whatever the YouTube A/B testing picks.
Level 1.
This is the bootleg tier. JJ is a knockoff of Osu, a popular free and open source rhythm game where you click on the circles and rhythm to whatever song is playing. If you ever played Elite Beat Agents on the DS, it's basically the same thing. Released by a subsidiary of Kingsoft, it can be seen from pure looks that JJ is very blatantly stealing from Osu. From the UI, the tutorial, and even sound effects and certain graphics, which seems to be directly taken from Osu. JJ would release in February 2012 with two versions, a Flash version and a desktop PC version. Backlash would strike the developers upon its release because of the blatant theft. The game was shut down April 28, 2012, only 2 months after release. You can find gameplay videos online, but that is all that remains, as no build would surface online. And even if one did, you would have the next big task of trying to activate the game again, as it most likely relied on an online connection. Doraemon vs. Robots. An unlicensed movie released in Taiwan, Doraemon vs. Robots played in theaters on February 12, 1983, but was reported to not perform well at the box office. Because of its age and limited release, it is nearly impossible to find a copy of the movie. What's interesting is that the movie was animated by a studio who has worked on plenty of officially licensed shows and movies, that being Wang Film Productions. Wang Films was an outsourcing studio that worked for many companies, ranging from Hanna-Barbera, Disney, Warner Brothers, DiC, and plenty more. It could be possible that this movie was licensed considering the production company's history, but there's no concrete proof on either side of the statement. And it is mostly believed that this is unofficial, as Doraemon won't officially air in Taiwan until the early 1990s. Copies of Doraemon vs. Robots are very much out there in the wild, as the movie had a very limited VHS release. Because of that, footage would surface online over the years. One person to turn to would be Soon, who over the years posted dozens of screenshots and some footage of the movie. In 2012, on a now private Facebook account, Soon would upload a 30-second clip of the ending of the movie. People would upload his clip to YouTube without crediting him, which upset Soon and made him not want to share any more footage. But this wouldn't be forever, as Soon would share snippets again and some backstory on his Instagram and Threads account. Soon claims that a family member bought a copy of the movie when he was a kid. Even in 2026, Soon still periodically uploads photos of the movie, though they are recreated images with AI to enhance the photo. Soon is not the only known person possessing a copy of Doraemon vs. Robots, as also the TFAI Museum holds the original negatives of the movie, but due to copyright, it's unknown if they will ever release it. As of now, the full film remains unavailable to the public. I have sent an email to Wing Productions, or as it's now known, Brilliant Animation Studios, asking about Doraemon and their other movies, but I doubt they will ever respond back. According to some sources, they went defunct in the mid-2000s, but I also see other sources say that they're still around and have worked on shows of recent as 2025. Anytime I try to look for a specific answer, I just get overwhelmed with info, so if anyone would like to clarify that bit, it would be great. Pyramid Chase. An obvious ripoff of Temple Run, developed by Magic Bone. Pyramid Chase would release in 2012 on iOS and Android with great success, as it would rank number 1 for a brief moment on the US App Store free games category, reaching 2 million downloads in its first month. The game would be taken down for copyright infringement, as it stole sound effects directly from Temple Run. The game would be relisted under different names, while no longer using sound effects directly stolen from Temple Run. However, the original version with the stolen sound effects would become lost media, while the other versions with the audio swap are found and available, including the Flash version. The Legend of Pokemon was a cartoon series with maybe not original, but different characters. The show premiered on CCTV in 2008 and mostly went under the radar. It wasn't until 2011 outrage occurred from the Chinese Pokemon fanbase for its blatant copyright infringement being aired on public TV. The backlash is most likely the reason why the show was stopped airing, and most online traces like the Baidu page and comments on the show on CCTV forums would be deleted. It is rumored 108 episodes were produced, but this isn't confirmed. Not a single episode has been fully found yet. Some bits and pieces of the show have been found though. An article on Sina Anime shared some concept art which shows Pokemon was not the only thing it was stealing from. A manga adaptation of the series exists with 2 volumes of it being found and bought on kongfz.com. The full scans of these 2 volumes have been uploaded online, and comparing one of the pages to the only screenshots of the anime that we have shows that the manga is likely directly based on the anime. The back of these books advertises more volumes, so it's likely that there's more floating around out there in the wild. What I find super intriguing is that this show aired in 2008, yet the controversy and articles didn't occur until 2011. How can a show airing on a major television station ripping off something huge as Pokemon can go under the radar for 3 years? The whole situation is just very intriguing, and hopefully that one day more of this can be found so we can see what else this show ripped off. Talking Tom was a very popular mobile app in the early 2010s, where if you talk into your phone, Tom the cat would repeat after you in his high-pitched voice. You could do other things like give Tom milk, or pet him, or get a restraining order, and other fun things. Fun fact, in the original version, the model of Tom was found to be a bought asset from 2004 that was from a website called turbosquid.com, which costed $90. After Talking Tom's success would come sequels, spin-offs, and of course bootlegs, which leads us to Talking Tom 3 and 4. These unofficial sequels were made by a company called Nanjing Aosandi Information Technology. In the 2 fake sequels, Tom was changed to being orange, and the backgrounds are completely different, with 3 taking place in the Olympics, and 4 in some stranger's house because Tom convinced himself that he's Santa Claus. You can still do the same activities with Tom like in previous games, but with a few new added features, like making him do the Gangnam Style dance, this came out in 2012 by the way, and do trivia quizzes. In 2013, Outfit 7, the original developers of Talking Tom, would sue Nanjing, which would lead to them shutting down a year later. Their games would be almost lost until 2024 when someone would make awareness to a Chinese site that still hosted downloads for these apps. Since the discovery, Talking Tom 3 and 4 are now hosted on more platforms, including the Internet Archive. One app that still remains lost is Talking Tom 5, which was advertised in the 4th game. And a handful of Twitter posts by a Nanjing employee shows screenshots for Talking Tom 5. You can see Tom's fur is brighter, his costume shows the setting was going to be Chinese New Year, and interestingly, the background appears to be a camera. It is possible that these are only placeovers, but a Chinese AR Talking Tom bootleg with malware sounds rad as hell. Oh yeah, Talking Tom 3 and 4 have viruses, don't install them please, just don't.
Level 2.
Beijing 2003. The longest movies ever are a bit of a rabbit hole themselves, most of them being documentaries and experimental movies that never had digital or physical releases. Beijing 2003 is one of those movies. At 150 hours or 6 days, it was shot entirely from the inside of a car through the windshield, navigating every single road within the city's 4th ring road, traveling the distance of roughly 2,400 kilometers or 1,500 miles. This was filmed when Beijing was constructing in preparation for the 2008 Olympics. Yes, in late 2003. Up until 2008, building for the Olympics takes lots of time and resources. Because of this, massive chunks of land in the city's history was demolished or repurposed for the Olympics. Serving this movie is a time capsule of a version of the city that no longer exists. Beijing 2003 was never given a traditional release. Instead, it was only ever been screened at a handful of art exhibits and film festivals. Because of that, no complete version of the movie has ever surfaced online. The only footage that exists on the internet consists of short clips recorded by audience members during art exhibits and a 2005 compilation book titled Beijing 10 2003. It offers the closest thing to a complete copy of the movie, as the book contained 1,719 still images, where it captures a frame of the movie every 5 minutes across the full runtime. The film itself remains out of reach for virtually everyone. Don't Ask About Tomorrow sees today, potentially a lost song that plays in a public service ad called Small Acts of Kindness, There's Still More We Can Do, which aired on the CCTV channel in the early 2000s, with the earliest known airing being in 2002. This ad aired extremely often back then, and the song is what people remember the most. This led to people wondering if the song was original to the commercial, or if this was something taken from somewhere else. Currently, 3 versions of the commercial are known: a 45-second version, a 40-second version, and a 15-second version. Researchers were able to uncover background information on the commercial itself, including who produced it, but almost no information about the music. Either way, the production company responsible for the ad went defunct in 2005, making contact with them almost impossible. A different version of the ad was later found using different footage and a completely different soundtrack. More in-depth credits for the PSA were eventually discovered in a 2003 IAI China Advertising Works Yearbook, specifically on page 436, which credits
江小
for the music. However, researchers believe that these credits may refer to the earlier draft with a different soundtrack and not the final version containing the mysterious song that people are searching for. I tried looking further into why people believe that these are credits for the original soundtrack and not the newer one, or if anyone has ever gotten in contact with any of the crew, but I couldn't find much info on it. This is basically all we know. Nobody knows who sang the song, who composed it, or whether a full version even exists at all. Some people even believe the 45-second clip may have already be the complete song. The latest update I could find was on March 2026, so we'll probably see more findings later down the line. Especially since Don't Ask About Tomorrow Sees Today is something very nostalgic to many Chinese people who watched TV in the 2000s and have been searching for since 2008. Honestly, this song could play in King of Lynch 2 and it wouldn't feel out of place. Children of the Shenzhen River. On July 1st, 1997, Hong Kong would be handed back to China after 150 years under British colonial rule. A song called We Are Children of the Shenzhen River would be made for Shenzhen television at the Children's Day Gala titled Pearl of the Orient. The song was broadcasted on May 31st, 1997, 31 days before the handover took effect. And during the performance, you can see a 31-day countdown in the background. Only a partial 2-minute recording exists, uploaded by Li Chilun in 2018, who has a collection of Hong Kong VHS tapes from the 90s. The other half of the song still remains lost. Taiwanese dub of Family Guy. Premiering on Fox Taiwan, starting with season 9 of the show, is the Taiwanese Mandarin dub of Family Guy, running from 2014 to 2022. When Disney updated their policy in 2022, Fox Taiwan was no longer Fox and became Star World Taiwan, and Family Guy would be cancelled on the program. Then, in 2025, Star World would shut down their social media accounts, leading to any uploaded clips of their dub Family Guy being wiped as well. This dub was briefly available on Fox Plus until it shut down in December 2019. You can find some clips of this dub online from unofficial accounts, and a few episodes can be found online, but most of the dub remains missing.
比赛，今天报纸有专题报道。
拜托莱西，我们去看这家报纸。
MRI, a short-lived TV program that aired on the
新歌
animation channel about experimental electronic music. The show started in September 2011 up until sometime in 2012, with it lasting for at least 20 episodes. The exact episode count is uncertain, however. The episodes averaged around 30 minutes in length and featured a few hosts. In the middle of the episodes, they would showcase a few songs while background footage plays, and at the end, the host shows himself making music. Only 4 episodes have been found, and I would love for this to get found as a potential way to unearth any obscure music by any Chinese electronic artists. One of the songs showcased I couldn't find any info on or an original place to listen to, while the others were just artists from other countries and readily accessible. Online games. I'm condensing this into one category to not fill the iceberg too much with the same topic over and over. Online games refers to what used to be a common practice of taking video games from elsewhere and remarketing them for China. Although they can be released for countries like Japan, Indonesia, Malaysia, they are typically targeted towards mainland China and South Korea due to the very different laws and market conditions that gaming has there. For example, video game consoles were banned for 15 years in China, and if any company wanted to bring their products to China, they would have to be changed to comply with Chinese law, which is why they have the IQ lineup instead of the actual Nintendo systems themselves. Most games are free to play in China, with a very heavy pay-to-win mechanics. There are a lot of examples of games being remade just for a Chinese and Korean audience. Some of these examples are lost or unplayable. Examples like Call of Duty Online, Soldier of Fortune Online, Borderlands Online, Need for Speed Online, Plants vs. Zombies, and so much more. Due to the games being heavily reliant on an online connectivity and being obscure outside of their home countries, they can get lost and remain unplayable. Some of these though, like Call of Duty Online, I have heard that there's a group of developers trying to revive it, though I do not know how progress is going.
Level 3.
Unknown anime poster in Bleach. No, not the anime you're all most familiar with. Bleach is a Chinese live-action drama from 2025. In one of the episodes, a poster in the background can be found showing 4 anime characters, but no one knows if they're from an existing franchise or something original just for the show. Efforts to contact various crew members who worked on Bleach were attempted, but to no avail, and reverse image searching led nowhere. The current consensus is that the image is AI generated. User named P3Hospitalite analyzed the image at various angles when it appears in the episode and noticed very odd details. No one has hands, the main girl in the center has an extremely thin neck, and some things drawn don't make sense. Another thing to note is how most of the characters are randomly cut off in the poster. Considering Bleach was filmed in 2024 and the weird designs, it is likely that this is indeed just an AI generated poster. Double Gay is a parody album that might not even exist. Supposedly produced by Nasty Gay and Lil Gay. Nasty Gay is the name of a Dobin account. Think Letterboxd. Created purely to mock a rap artist named Nasty Ray. The account created the Double Gay album entry, but whether the album actually exists is completely unconfirmed. For the search for this album in a nutshell, 2 Lost Media Wiki users found a troll account, couldn't verify the NetEase music profile ever existing, asked questions about it in the Lost Media QQ group chat, and mostly got ignored. I just put this entry here because the name caught my attention, I'm not gonna lie. My Little Pony PE. It's not actually called My Little Pony, I'm just attention baiting you. Sorry. Little Horse, or Pony PE, was a Chinese Windows PE toolkit designed for installing, repairing, maintaining, and recovering Windows computers. Windows PE itself is a lightweight version of Windows that can boot from, say, a USB drive without requiring a full Windows installation. Technicians often use it to install Windows, format drivers, backup or restore data, repair damaged Windows, and more. Little Horse was one of many customized Chinese WinPE variants that bundled other useful apps. These early variants would go lost when in 2016, the cloud service that they were stored on, DeepInk Cloud, would shut down. The creator, known as Xiaoma, also developed OEM 7, a Windows 7 activation utility that became widely known in China. Because of that popularity, the Xiaoma name became recognizable, and numerous unofficial copies and imitators appeared later. Multiple versions of Little Horse PE would release, ranging from multiple Windows OSs. There is a list of what versions have been found and what is still lost. Except Wushan, an unreleased movie that's a love story between 2 women, a young writer and a young college student. After some complications in the story, the writer's heart breaks down when the college student dies in front of her. The movie was made as China's answer to Brokeback Mountain. It was announced to have started production in 2006 and set to premiere at 4 major international film festivals. But by 2008, nothing came through and the movie wasn't being advertised anymore. There was a website claiming to have a DVD of the movie, but was quickly debunked when it listed other movies that never existed to be on DVD. A few screenshots and a small clip posted by one of the actress's friends are the only footage that we have. Interestingly, the director of this movie would never direct a movie again after this, seemingly to disappear from the industry entirely. A statement on why the movie was cancelled was never given. Could be that it wasn't finished in time, the LGBT themes in a 2000s movie in China, or maybe all of the above. Who knows? Anime Station was a TV program on CETV dedicated to airing foreign animation, mainly Japanese. The program aired from January 1st to December 31st of 2004. This program is very important as it was how many people got introduced to anime in China and led to its popularity to where it is today. The program even aired some anime before they were officially localized in China. Think how back then in the US, people would watch fan-made subbed anime online before it officially released. Anime Station stood out for being targeted towards teens and young adults. as at the time, most animated TV stations in China were geared towards young children. Despite running for a whole year every day and being important to Chinese anime culture, only one episode has been found. The way this program worked was that it consisted 5 minutes of live action hosted segments plus 20 minutes of whatever cartoon they wanted to show. Some of these shows that played were The 12 Kingdoms, Mythical Detective Loki, and Spiral: The Bonds of Reasoning. As said, the one episode is all we have so far. Chinese speaking frog. You may or may have not seen this video of a 3D frog model in Blender lip-syncing to some Chinese phone message. The mystery comes into the origins of the voice message itself. In the voice message, you hear a lady claiming to be on behalf of the Bank of America Chinese voice department, then switches to Mandarin, telling the recipient that an irregular action was detected while this banger plays in the background. The banger in question is Vanessa's First Smile, a French song. There's not much else to say, as it appears no real search has been done yet, but if you want to research into where this voice message comes from, be my guest. The only thing known is that this voice message was a scam call.
Level 4.
MMFS. Miscellaneous Morsels from Psychont, or MMFS for short, is a one-man flash web series created by a user known online as Jumping Frog. And when I say one man, I mean entirely one man. Every character, voice, and role was written and acted by him. The series covers topics like gods, ghosts, fantasy, religion, and history. What makes this thing funny, at least to me, is the presentation. Having one person act everything, the weird flash animations, the 3D visuals, the editing style in general, the dense amount of lore that this has, it all feels like a fever dream, like falling asleep with Cartoon Network on and waking up at 3 AM to Adult Swim playing whatever nightmares that they have. MMFS is not only a web series. Jumping Frog made documents about the lore of his series and even planned games, as he was also a programmer who released a few games. In June 2025, someone privately messaged Jumping Frog on one of his Bilibili accounts after identifying that it was the same person, and within 24 hours, the creator deleted every video of his channel and deactivated his account too. He also had previously ran a TikTok account that he similarly deleted on his own terms. Nobody knows why. As of now, the trailer and episodes 3 through 6 have been recovered, with episodes ranging from about 18 to 36 minutes each. The total episode count is still unknown, but based on the 6th episode's unresolved plot, the series clearly wasn't finished. I want to see someone translate the found episodes with English subtitles too, because the Lost Media Wiki entry says that the writing's very Uncanny Valley-like, as if it wasn't written by a human. While skimming through the episodes myself, I noticed that the episodes have a QR code, but they direct to deleted pages. The wiki page was last updated on June 2025, so hopefully more info gets found in the future.
What the fuck?
Abandoned martial arts novel room. Around 2009, internet users discovered an abandoned building with its walls covered floor to ceiling with handwritten text. The writing appeared to be a proper-length martial arts novel, complete with chapter titles and illustrations. The author is unknown, but many people speculate that it was a homeless drifter or someone's anonymous art project. A lot of the story is gone now, as the building would be demolished. What remains is photographs people have taken in the past. The text appears to have been started in 2006 and is written in first person. The narrator describes possessing superhuman martial arts abilities, lightning-fast reflexes, and immense strength. One surviving chapter depicts a classic-style hero rescues a young woman scenario. The story references modern counties and towns in China, suggesting that it takes place a more modern day rather than a historical tale. Attention was spread after forum user posted photographs in February 2009 under the title The Extremely Tough Beggar Gang Wuxia Genius. News outlets soon picked up the story, and it spread widely online. Some reports claim that the building contained writing on at least 8 walls and perhaps dozens of stories, but the exact location was never revealed publicly. For years, the building became known online as the Chongqing Novel House, but later to be debunked, and the Chongqing connection may have originated from a foreign blog post rather than a reliable original source. Search efforts located archived forum posts and news reports, which found additional photographs showing more of the text and reconstructed parts of the building's layout, but all of the stories written inside are mostly lost and might stay that way forever, with the building gone. The stories written were not from other books, it was all original. Ghost on the Suspension Bridge. A classic jump scare image where you see a long bridge that you have to scroll through, only to be treated with a lovely face. Although not exclusive to China, it was popular there back then. The photo of the bridge itself is from 2001, uploaded by a photographer, and takes place in Japan, though the exact location is not known yet. The sign in the back with Japanese text gives it away. In 2025, Bilibili user identifying idiotic internet claims accidentally stumbled upon the original image of the ghost girl face on Rednote. The original image is from a photo of the Taiwanese pop duo Me Too, marking this image as fully solved. Transparency, buns made of cardboard. Transparency was a show that aired on BTV7, and one of the episodes would damage the show's reputation. The episode, roughly translated to Buns Made of Cardboard, aired in 2007 and was about exposing illegal street vendors for using cardboard to fill pork buns as a cost-saving procedure. However, it was quickly dismissed as being staged, and when authorities came in to inspect the whole area that was shown in the episode, they didn't see any evidence of food tampering. There was also rumors of vendors using fake eggs, but none of that was evident as well. Now, as someone who loves eating cardboard, I must admit it is very difficult to just sneak it in, as it is very obviously hard to chew and swallow. If this was true, there would be way more complaints about the food from the street vendors, and there wasn't, which I think overall proved that this news station faked everything. The news crew would admit that the episode was staged and had paid actors, leading to the crew being fined and jailed for a year. The network would stop airing the episode and pull it off the web, leading to the episode being lost for 18 years. Until 2025, Chinese Lost Media Wiki user
普通同学
found the full episode by digging through archived webpage, source code, and found an old scene of video player ID buried in the HTML. They reconstructed the URL, pinged the server, and the complete video was still sitting there, making it found. Incredible Warrior. This was an MMO funded by the Chinese government, made to promote being ethical and demolishing corruption. You could label it as a propaganda game. Incorruptible Warrior allegedly had a very troubled development. It was developed by 6 people in 2 years with a budget of only $20,000 USD, and that's with inflation. Upon its release in 2007, the game showed it was very incompetently made, featuring plenty of typos, plagiarism, and ironically not at all conveying its message. As the way the game worked, you solved corruption by murdering corrupt people, then their bodyguards, then their half-naked mistresses, then their children, which all come after you when killing their leader. On the first couple of days of its release, it would reach 7,000 registered players, which was a problem as the game only handled 500 concurrent players, causing the servers to overload. The website hosting would shut down the game, then come back for a week, and then shut down forever. Incorruptible Warrior would be online for only 20 days, which is still longer than Concord. You can find screenshots and promotional videos of the game, but no build has surfaced, and the game remains unplayable. I'm very curious as to what games they stole from, as it doesn't seem too obvious from the screenshots. What an oddity. Lost Cable TV Prank. On September 18th, 1994, during the evening, families in Taiyuan watching the Yellow River TV channel would see what appears to be a public service announcement. The screen would cut to blue with a message saying, "Note to citizens, it is understood that the
四不像
will soon enter this area from outside Yanmen Pass, and will soon enter thousands of households. Please keep your doors and windows tightly shut and keep a close watch." Jinshin Advertising Agency. Folks watching would be confused and concerned as to what was going on. Some even panicked. Kids wouldn't go to school and families would lock their doors. If you don't know,
四不像
is a classic mythological creature whose name translates to none of four, as it resembles a deer, camel, hoof, and a donkey. It turned out that this public service announcement was actually a commercial for a liquor brand called
四不像
but this went over many viewers' heads, which led to them panicking instead. The brand would be fined for causing mass hysteria, and the TV station airing the ad would apologize multiple times on air during the day. No footage or screenshots have resurfaced.
Level 5.
The Death of PP. Death of PP is a bait and shock comic strip made in Flash from the late 2000s to early 2010s. To give a little background, this comic is based on a game series called SEER, which is like Chinese Pokemon, a fairly large franchise spawning multiple games and movies. PP is a flying type creature in the game and is one of the most popular characters in the franchise. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the comic as of May 2026 is almost entirely lost media, and the info available are mostly theories. So take what I'm about to summarize with a grain of salt. In the comic strip begins an evolved version of PP asking its unevolved self what it wants to eat, which it replies with your heart. Then PP starts eating its evolved version's heart. Then it cuts to a series of real-life gore images depicting cannibalism, mutilation, and other gruesome photos. Some claim one of the photos shown was the Cannibal Corpse album Butchered at Birth. It is also theorized that the comic didn't initially contain any of the gore, containing only the comic strip segments, and that the ones with the shocking imagery was a re-upload. This sounds about right, considering creepypastas were starting to become popular around the time of this comic, and shock sites were still very much a thing as well. Here's what is confirmed. There are multiple versions of this comic. The comic was first found on 7K7K, a popular site for Flash games, and later found on iPie, a video sharing site. The iPie upload is the original version because of someone else's comment on the 7K7K page saying it was stolen from that site, and also someone claiming to be a friend of the original creator of this comic claimed that iPie version is indeed the original one, and that it was something that their friend made while in elementary school. They also requested to stop trying to dig out personal information about their friend. Due to these comics being made in Flash, it wasn't properly archived, as downloading a found SWF file will still lead to not playing, and all versions are like this. What we have are the cover arts for the three versions and other recollections of the comic. Lost Sad Satan video. Even in China, Sad Satan was infamous. In December 2015, Bilibili channel C June would upload the 18th episode of the gaming horror series, The Scariest Game Collection, where C June showcases a variety of horror games. In the video, the first game played is Sad Satan. If you're not familiar, Sad Satan is a first-person horror game where you walk through a bunch of corridors while unsettling audio and images of real gore appear on screen. There's a bit of backstory to this game as well, and I will link a good video on it in the description. But basically, due to the extreme content of the game and C June not completely censoring the video would be taken down, though unknown if it was Bilibili or C June. In episode 19 of the series, which also appears to be deleted now, in the description it requests viewers to not talk about what happened to episode 18. Due to the sudden deletion, the video was lost for a decade until Chinese Lost Media Wiki user Adnini983 realized he had the video saved on his Baidu Cloud account and uploaded it to the Internet Archive, making it viewable again. Mad Food, a Taiwanese Flash web series that ran on its own website from 2002 to 2004 until the website shut down in 2005. It's unknown how many episodes overall were made, but in total we have 44 full episodes, and some partially found. In Mad Food, the main characters are Dogshit-san and Left Red Eye. There's other characters too, like a stuttering chef named a Black Eye Quick Shit Hand, but the main focus is Dogshit-san and Left Red Eye. The chefs showcase various recipes that mainly revolve around feces and other gross stuff too, like eating maggots. And Mad Food isn't just one series, it's actually part of a bigger brand called Mad Egg. The website I mentioned earlier that shut down in 2005 hosted multiple shows within the universe: Mad Egg, Mad Pet, Swordman, Radio, and more. In fact, there's even Flash games too. Mad Food is one of the most documented ones, while the other series have more lost media. Most, if not all, are equally gross and grotesque. The process of finding Mad Food is very well documented, spanning from 2011 to 2025. Although the footage of Mad Food is found as far as we know, the original SWF files for many are still lost. The creator of the Mad Egg series was contacted in 2025 and said he would try to find if he still had any of the files for the show, but no response has been given back yet. CCTV 4 Death Trivia Incident. In September 2004, in Russia, a school was held hostage by terrorists for multiple days until the explosives that they planted went off, ending the lives of teachers, parents, and students. This tragic event would be covered on the CCTV4 news program, Today's Focus, a day after the event. During the coverage, scrolling text appears on the bottom of the screen with a game for viewers to play. How many of people died in the Russian hostage crisis so far? Please send your answers directly via SMS. After this message displayed, people were outraged for obviously good reasons. This was very inhumane to do something tragic as this only days after the attack ended. CCTV dismissed the director involved and explained that the guessing game was broadcasted without the approval due to an oversight in the program production process. The State Administration of Radio, Film, and Television subsequently ordered all television stations nationwide to immediately cease their news SMS quiz competitions. From the controversy in early days of the internet, this news segment was slipped through the cracks, and almost all footage still remains lost. We have a handful of screenshots from this segment which shows a cctv.com watermark, which implies that this broadcast could have been on the TV station's website at some point, though it is now gone. A 2004 forum post from September 9th was found containing the full trivia question text and an RTSP streaming link to the actual video, but that link is now completely dead. It's a topic that's still being searched for and one that might get fully found one day. Leonko Middle School Fight Incident. These were a series of videos circulating the internet around 2009. The clips showed students getting in fistfights, vulgar altercations, and other forms of bullying. Students would film these fights and upload them online. Of course, this would spread attention and the location would be revealed that this happened at the Leonko Middle School. One of the most infamous videos to come out of this was dubbed the Chair Eating Edition, which showed an entire classroom throwing chairs at a student while being cornered. After widespread attention was gained, the video would be taken down online, and the full version of the chair video would be lost, with only re-edited uploads of it remaining. Someone in 2024 did manage to add the original uploader of the video on QQ, but they no longer have the full video and only the re-edits.